Most people don't lose in life because they are weak. They lose because their mind is undisciplined. They wake up with intentions, but sleep with regrets. They plan to stay calm, but react at the first sign of pressure. They want focus, but get pulled into distractions they never even chose. It feels like something else is controlling their direction. Their mood changes because of other people. Their energy drops because of small situations. Their confidence shakes because of temporary failures. And slowly, they begin to feel trapped inside their own thoughts. Think about a car with a powerful engine but no steering. It can move fast. It can make noise. It can even look impressive. But without control, it is heading toward a crash. The human mind works the same way. Strength without discipline becomes self-destruction. In this video, you will discover 12 powerful lessons that will help you train your mind, protect your focus, and build the kind of inner stability that most people never achieve. So watch till the end. Lesson 1. Win the first battle with yourself. Every morning, before the world even speaks to you, your mind does. It whispers comfort. It negotiates effort. It suggests delay. Just 5 more minutes. Today doesn't matter that much. You can start tomorrow. And without realizing, many people lose their first battle before they even leave the bed. This is not laziness. This is undirected consciousness. Think about a commander standing at the gates of a city. If he allows the enemy to enter at dawn, the entire day becomes a struggle to regain control. But if he secures the gates early, peace inside the city remains intact. Your morning decisions are those gates. The first action you take sets the psychological tone for everything that follows. If you surrender to comfort first, discipline feels heavier later. If you choose intention first, focus becomes easier to maintain. Ancient Stoic thinkers often emphasized the importance of internal readiness. As once reflected, at dawn, remind yourself that you are rising to do the work of a human being. This was not poetry, it was mental conditioning. Because the human mind is not naturally stable. It drifts toward pleasure. It avoids resistance. It seeks the familiar. Now imagine a sculptor working with raw stone. The first strike of his hammer does not shape the final form, but it defines direction. If the angle is careless, every strike afterward must compensate for the mistake. Your first disciplined action of the day works the same way. It tells your brain, I am in command. And once that message is established, distractions lose some of their influence. Doubts lose some of their weight. Excuses lose some of their voice. Real mental strength is not built in dramatic moments. It is built in these quiet daily victories no one else ever sees. Lesson 2. Guard your attention like a sacred resource. There was a time when warriors protected gold. Today, the strongest minds protect attention, because attention decides what enters your inner world. Most people think they are tired because they work too much, but the truth is, they are exhausted, because their mind is pulled in 100 directions. Notifications, opinions, arguments, comparisons, expectations. Every voice wants a piece of your focus, and slowly, without realizing, you stop living your own life. You start reacting to everyone else's. Imagine standing in the middle of a crowded marketplace, people shouting, vendors calling, music playing, someone arguing, someone laughing. If you try to listen to everything, you understand nothing. But the moment you choose one direction and walk with purpose, the noise becomes background. Your mind works the same way. Discipline is not just waking up early. It is deciding what deserves your awareness. Stoic thinkers believed that peace does not come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling what you allow to disturb you. Think of sunlight passing through a magnifying glass. When scattered, it only warms the surface. But when focused, it can burn through metal. Your attention has that same destructive or constructive power. If you keep giving it to small dramas, your big dreams remain untouched. If you protect it, your actions gain intensity, and intensity creates results. Mentally strong people are not those who never face chaos. They are those who refuse to let chaos live inside them. They choose silence over useless debate, distance over emotional traps, purpose over endless distraction, because they know where attention goes, life follows. Lesson 3. Master the power of delayed reaction. Most people believe strength means reacting fast. Answer instantly, defend immediately, attack without thinking. They feel speed proves control, but real mental power often moves slowly. Think about deep ocean waves. On the surface, there is chaos, noise, movement, restlessness. But in the depths, everything is silent, heavy, unshakable. Mentally weak people live on the surface of their emotions. Every word hits them. Every opinion shakes them. Every disrespect demands a response. They feel if they stay silent, they will lose. But what they don't understand is instant reaction gives others access to their inner state. The moment you react blindly, you hand over your steering wheel. Now imagine an experienced chess player. When the opponent makes an aggressive move, he does not panic. He leans back, studies the board, feels the tension, lets the moment breathe. Because he knows the first emotional move is often the worst strategic move. Life works the same way. Not every message needs a reply. Not every insult needs a defense. Not every situation needs your energy. Sometimes your calm delay creates more psychological impact than 1,000 arguments. Ancient thinkers understood this deeply. They believed self-control is not about suppressing emotion. It is about choosing timing. When you pause, you create space between stimulus and response. And inside that space, your real power lives. Because the one who reacts immediately is controlled by the moment. But the one who responds intentionally controls the direction. Mentally strong individuals do not fear silence. They use it. They allow tension to grow, confusion to rise, expectations to break. And in that psychological gap, their presence becomes heavier, more respected, more mysterious, more untouchable. Remember this: anyone can explode. Very few can remain composed. And in a noisy world, composure feels like dominance. Lesson 4. Stop being always available. There is a silent law in human psychology. What is always available slowly becomes invisible. Not because people are evil, but because the mind is designed to value what feels limited. It notices contrast. It reacts to rarity. Think about fresh rain in a desert. When it falls after months, people look at the sky in awe. They step outside. They feel grateful. They remember the moment. There is emotion in the air. There is presence in the experience. Scarcity turns ordinary moments into powerful memories. But imagine rain falling every single day without stopping. Slowly, no one looks up anymore. Windows stay closed. Conversations continue. Attention disappears. Gratitude fades. What once felt magical becomes background noise. Your presence works the same way. Many people destroy their own value by trying to prove loyalty, by replying instantly, by showing up every time, by never creating distance, by never protecting their own rhythm. They confuse availability with importance. They believe constant access builds stronger bonds. But often it builds silent disrespect. Because when someone knows you will always be there, they stop preparing to meet you. They stop choosing you consciously. You become a background certainty, not a meaningful experience. Your words feel lighter. Your absence feels normal. And slowly, your emotional impact starts shrinking, without you even noticing the change. Now imagine a powerful leader. He does not attend every gathering. He does not speak in every argument. He does not explain every decision or chase every approval. His restraint becomes part of his authority. His absence creates weight. His timing creates impact. When he finally appears, people listen differently. Rooms feel quieter. attention becomes sharper, not because he demanded respect, but because he allowed space to increase his perceived importance. Stoic philosophy often hinted at this invisible balance. Closeness builds warmth, distance builds value, presence creates connection, restraint creates depth. Both are necessary, but few know when to use each. Mentally strong people understand they are not required to be emotionally on call for everyone. They choose where to invest presence. They choose when to withdraw and recharge. They protect their internal world with intention, not out of ego, but out of awareness. Because energy is finite, attention is limited. Time is irreversible. Emotional capacity has boundaries. And self-respect grows when self-access becomes selective. And the moment you stop giving yourself endlessly, people start noticing what they were taking for granted. Your silence feels louder. Your time feels rarer. Your presence begins to feel earned, not assumed. Remember, if your door is always open, no one feels special walking in. But when access becomes intentional, every interaction becomes meaningful. Lesson 5. The need to be liked is a silent weakness. There is a strange trap many people fall into without realizing. They start living not according to their values, but according to other people's reactions. They adjust their words. They soften their opinions. They hide their boundaries to avoid discomfort, all for one reason: to be liked. At first it feels harmless. You smile more. You agree more. You tolerate more than you normally would. You convince yourself kindness will automatically earn respect. But slowly, something dangerous begins to happen. You stop recognizing yourself. Your decisions feel borrowed. Your voice feels filtered. Your confidence starts depending on approval. Imagine an actor who keeps changing roles in every single scene. In one moment he is brave. In the next he is fearful. Then he becomes funny, then serious, then agreeable, then uncertain. Eventually, even the audience becomes confused. Who is he really? The human mind reacts the same way. When people cannot predict your values, they stop trusting your strength. Because true respect is built on consistency, not on approval, not on constant agreement. Mentally weak individuals try to win every heart. They measure their worth through reactions. Mentally strong individuals focus on protecting their character. They measure their worth through alignment. They understand being misunderstood is sometimes the price of authenticity. Ancient philosophers often warned about this invisible danger. The moment you start chasing validation, you give others the power to define your worth. And when worth is externally controlled, peace becomes impossible. Your mood rises and falls with opinions. Your energy gets tied to acceptance. Your direction becomes unstable, and internal clarity slowly disappears. Now imagine a tall tree standing alone in an open field. Storms hit it first. Winds challenge it constantly. Yet it does not bend just to please the weather. It does not shrink to avoid attention. Its roots go deeper. Its trunk becomes stronger. Over time, that same tree becomes a landmark. Not because it tried to fit in, but because it refused to lose itself in the pressure to be approved. Real mental discipline is not about being cold or arrogant. It is about knowing your direction matters more than temporary approval. It is about choosing respect over popularity, clarity over comfort, because the moment you stop trying to be liked by everyone, you finally become someone worth respecting. Lesson 6. Learn to walk away without noise. Most people don't know how to leave. They either stay too long, or they leave with anger. They argue, they explain, they try to make the other person understand, as if closure must be loud to be meaningful. But real psychological strength often looks like a quiet exit. Think about a burning room. If someone keeps standing inside just to prove they are brave, the fire does not respect their courage. It only consumes them slowly. Many people do the same in relationships, in friendships, in toxic environments where their peace is already fading. They remain present long after their clarity has disappeared. Not because they are strong, but because they are afraid of what walking away might mean. Fear of judgment, fear of being misunderstood, fear of starting again from uncertainty. The human mind often chooses familiar discomfort over unfamiliar freedom, even when staying begins to cost inner stability. Now imagine a skilled traveler crossing a desert. He carries only what is necessary. If his bag becomes too heavy, he does not deliver speeches to the sand. He removes the weight and continues forward. Because survival depends on movement. Mental survival works the same way. Stoic thinkers believed attachment without awareness slowly creates suffering. But conscious detachment creates space for growth. Mentally disciplined individuals do not abandon people impulsively. They observe patterns. They feel the energy. They notice when respect starts turning into obligation, when their values begin to bend under silent pressure, and when they recognize their growth is being delayed, their direction is becoming blurred, their emotional resources are being drained. They choose distance with intention, not as revenge, not as drama, but as self-respect. And something interesting happens when you walk away calmly. Those who expected emotional chaos feel unsettled. Those who thought you would chase feel confused. Because silence during departure creates psychological gravity. It shows you are not running from them. You are moving toward yourself. Remember, anyone can stay and suffer loudly. Very few can leave with dignity. And dignity is a language everyone understands. Lesson 7. Stop seeking constant validation. There is a silent addiction that controls more lives than failure ever could. The addiction of being approved. It hides behind smiles, behind politeness, behind the constant need to be reassured. Many people cannot make a decision until someone else agrees. They cannot feel proud until someone else notices. They cannot feel worthy until someone else confirms it. And slowly, their self-image stops belonging to them. It becomes a reflection of changing opinions, a fragile identity shaped by reactions, a confidence that rises and falls with the mood of the crowd. Think about a mirror placed in a crowded street. Every passing person changes the angle, touches the surface, leaves a mark. Dust gathers, fingerprints spread. Reflections become unclear. Soon, the mirror no longer shows reality. It only shows distortion. Your mind behaves the same way. When it depends too much on external validation, clarity disappears under constant influence. Compliments feel like fuel. Criticism feels like destruction. You start living in emotional instability. One good comment lifts you. One negative reaction breaks you. Mentally disciplined individuals build a different foundation. They develop internal standards. They measure themselves through alignment. Not applause, not approval, not popularity. They ask themselves, did I act with integrity? Did I stay aligned with my purpose? Did I give my best effort? Because self-respect grows from inner evaluation, not public applause, not temporary recognition. Ancient wisdom often pointed toward this uncomfortable truth. If your confidence depends on the crowd's mood, your peace will never be permanent. Now imagine a lighthouse standing alone on a violent coast. Waves crash, storms scream, ships come and go without warning. Yet the light does not flicker to impress the ocean. It shines because that is its function. Steady, consistent, self-directed. Real strength looks like that. Unaffected by noise, anchored in purpose. The moment you stop asking the world for permission, you start becoming someone the world quietly observes. Your presence feels grounded. Your direction feels certain. Remember, approval feels good, but dependence on approval feels like a cage. And mental freedom begins the day you unlock it. Lesson 8. Protect your emotional energy. Not every fight is visible. Some battles happen silently, inside your nervous system. A careless comment, an unexpected rejection, a moment of disrespect that lingers longer than it should. And suddenly, your entire day feels heavier. Your focus drops. Your motivation fades. Your thoughts start repeating the same scene again and again. Small moments begin occupying large mental space. You feel present physically, but distracted internally. Most people think this is normal, but mentally disciplined individuals understand something powerful. Energy leaks where awareness is weak. Not all exhaustion comes from effort. Some of it comes from unguarded emotion, from allowing every experience to leave a deep mark. Imagine carrying a bottle filled with clean water across a long journey. If the cap is loose, you may not notice the drops falling. Step after step, mile after mile, the loss feels invisible, almost harmless, until the moment you finally need the water, and it is almost gone. Emotional energy disappears the same way, through overthinking, through replaying conversations, through trying to control what was never yours to control, through attaching meaning to temporary discomfort, through resisting what has already happened. Stoic thinkers often reminded themselves that suffering increases when imagination becomes louder than reality. When the mind keeps extending pain beyond the actual moment, when memory becomes sharper than presence, and possibility becomes heavier than fact. Now picture a warrior polishing his armor before entering battle, not because he fears the enemy, but because he respects small damage. He knows one unnoticed crack can decide the outcome. Preparation is not weakness, it is awareness. Protection is not avoidance, it is strategy. Your emotional boundaries are that armor. Mentally strong people do not give reactions cheaply. They do not invest feelings in every temporary situation. They observe, they filter, they decide what deserves depth. Because they know once emotional energy is drained, even simple tasks feel overwhelming. But when energy is protected, even difficult challenges feel manageable. Clarity stays intact under pressure. Remember this: peace is not created by avoiding life. Peace is created by refusing to let life enter your mind without permission, by choosing what stays and what passes. And the moment you learn to guard your inner state, you stop feeling attacked by everything. You start feeling in control of yourself. Lesson 9. Use silence to create authority. Most people are afraid of silence. They rush to fill it. They speak to avoid discomfort. They explain to avoid misunderstanding, because silence feels like losing control. But mentally powerful individuals understand something very different. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is pressure. It changes the emotional atmosphere of a moment. It shifts attention without effort. Think about a courtroom. When the judge enters, he does not shout to prove authority. He sits, he observes, he lets the room become still. And suddenly, everyone becomes aware of his presence. Not because of noise, but because of weight. Human psychology reacts deeply to what is not said. Unspoken energy often feels stronger than endless verbal defense. When you argue endlessly, people focus on your words. When you remain calm and quiet, people start focusing on you. They wonder what you are thinking. They question their own position. They feel tension growing inside them. Now imagine a mountain standing in the middle of violent winds. Storms hit it, clouds surround it. Thunder crashes against it without warning. Yet the mountain does not respond. It does not try to prove stability. Its silence becomes its statement. Mentally disciplined people learn to create this same psychological effect. They do not react to every accusation. They do not clarify every misunderstanding. They do not participate in every emotional storm, because they know over-explaining reduces mystery, and mystery increases perceived strength. Restraint builds presence. Stillness builds psychological gravity. Ancient wisdom often suggested that the one who controls speech eventually controls situations, not through manipulation, but through awareness and timing. Remember, words can win arguments. Silence can win positioning. And in a world full of constant talking, the one who chooses stillness often feels the most powerful. Lesson 10. Don't let small things control big emotions. Most people don't fall because of big disasters. They fall because of small daily disturbances. A delayed reply, a rude tone, a minor mistake, an unexpected inconvenience. Moments that feel insignificant, yet linger longer than they should. Individually, these situations seem harmless, but psychologically, they keep scratching the mind. They interrupt clarity, they drain patience. They create emotional noise that slowly builds pressure, until stability starts feeling harder to maintain. Imagine a giant ship crossing a vast ocean. It is built to survive storms. It is designed to face massive waves without fear. Its structure is powerful. Its direction is clear. Nothing dramatic seems capable of stopping it. But if tiny holes start appearing at the bottom, water begins to enter silently. Not enough to sink it immediately. Not enough to create panic right away, but enough to weaken balance over time. Over time, the same ship that could survive hurricanes becomes vulnerable to slow flooding. Human emotional control works the same way. Small irritations, repeated daily, can quietly damage inner strength. Mentally weak individuals allow these moments to dictate their inner state. They lose focus, they lose patience, they lose perspective in situations that do not deserve depth. Their reactions become larger than the events themselves. Mentally disciplined individuals train themselves differently. They zoom out from the moment. They create psychological distance from irritation. They ask powerful questions. Will this matter in a week? In a year? In the story of my life? This simple awareness shrinks emotional chaos. It restores proportion. It restores control. Stoic thinkers often reminded themselves that perception shapes suffering. The event itself is rarely the true problem. The meaning we attach to it creates intensity. Interpretation decides emotional weight. Now picture a blacksmith forging a powerful sword. Sparks fly, heat rises. Metal screams under relentless pressure. Yet the blacksmith does not react to every spark touching his skin. His eyes remain on the final blade, because he understands temporary discomfort is part of creating lasting strength. Endurance builds mastery. Patience builds precision. When you adopt this mindset, annoyances stop feeling personal. Delays stop feeling threatening. Disrespect stops feeling defining. You begin to protect your emotional scale. You stop giving large reactions to small situations. And slowly, people start sensing something different in you. Stability. Remember, life will always test you in small ways before it trusts you with big victories. And the one who stays composed during minor chaos becomes unstoppable during major challenges. Lesson 11. Build inner independence. There comes a moment in life when you realize dependence is not always physical. Sometimes it is emotional. It hides behind habits, behind comfort, behind the quiet fear of standing alone. Many people look strong on the outside. They work hard, they stay busy. They appear confident in crowded rooms. But internally, their stability depends on others. Their peace feels borrowed, not owned. Someone's presence makes them calm. Someone's absence makes them restless. Someone's approval gives them courage. Someone's silence creates anxiety. This invisible dependence quietly steals mental freedom. Imagine a bird that has spent its entire life in a golden cage. It is fed on time, protected from storms, given comfort, given routine, given certainty. One day, the cage door opens. Freedom is finally available. Yet the bird does not fly. Not because its wings are weak, but because its mind no longer trusts open skies. Safety has reshaped its instincts. Familiar limits feel easier than unknown space. Human psychology works the same way. If your peace depends on constant reassurance, your confidence depends on predictable support. Your identity depends on familiar validation. Then independence begins to feel frightening. Mentally disciplined individuals train themselves to stand internally alone, not because they reject connection, not because they avoid closeness, but because they refuse to make connection a condition for stability. Ancient wisdom often pointed toward this quiet strength. The strongest mind is not the one surrounded by control. It is the one that remains balanced even without it. It adapts without losing direction. It feels without losing grounding. Now imagine a deep-rooted tree standing on a cliff. Winds change direction, seasons reshape the horizon. Even the soil shifts slightly over time. Yet the tree does not panic. Its roots hold firm, not because the world is stable, but because it built stability within itself. Inner structure becomes its protection. Inner clarity becomes its anchor. When you develop inner independence, loneliness stops feeling like danger. Uncertainty stops feeling like collapse. Rejection stops feeling like identity loss. You stop begging life for guarantees. You start moving through life with a different presence, calmer, heavier, unshakable. Your energy feels self-contained. Your direction feels self-approved. Remember, attachment can give comfort, but independence gives power, and true mental mastery begins the day you realize you can stand, even when no one is standing with you. Lesson 12. Become comfortable being misunderstood. One of the hardest disciplines in life is accepting that not everyone will understand you, and more importantly, not everyone is supposed to. Clarity is not always shared. Sometimes it is carried silently. Most people spend years trying to explain their intentions, justify their choices, prove their character. They fear being judged. They fear being labeled. They fear being seen incorrectly by those around them. So they talk more. They defend more. They shrink more, until one day they are no longer living their truth. They are living a performance designed for approval. Their actions feel calculated. Their voice feels filtered. Their direction feels borrowed. Imagine a traveler walking through a dense fog. From a distance, his shape looks unclear. Some people think he is lost. Some think he is dangerous. Some believe he is heading nowhere. But the traveler keeps walking, because he knows something powerful. Clarity is not always visible from the outside. Sometimes it exists only within direction. Purpose does not need constant validation. Mentally disciplined individuals stop fighting every misunderstanding. They understand people see you through the lens of their own fears, their own expectations, their own limitations. Trying to control every perception is like trying to control the wind. Exhausting, impossible, endless. Energy disappears without real progress. Peace becomes harder to maintain. Ancient thinkers often accepted this reality. They focused on action, not image, integrity, not approval, consistency, not popularity, direction, not noise. Now imagine the moon moving silently across the night sky. Clouds cover it, shadows distort it. Some nights it disappears completely, yet it does not rush to explain its existence. It continues its path, because truth does not panic when temporarily unseen. When you become comfortable being misunderstood, something inside you relaxes. A deep tension begins to fade. You stop overproving. You stop oversharing. You stop over-adjusting for temporary comfort. You begin to move with quiet certainty, and ironically, that certainty builds trust. Remember, respect is rarely given to those who try to control opinions. It is felt by those who remain steady despite them. Presence becomes heavier. Identity becomes clearer. In a world that constantly demands reaction, instant answers, endless availability, mental discipline becomes rare, and rarity always carries power. But those who learn to guard attention, delay reaction, walk away calmly, protect emotional energy, build inner independence, and stay steady even when misunderstood. They start living differently, not louder but stronger, not faster but wiser, not everywhere but intentional, because real power is not about controlling others. It is about mastering yourself, about choosing direction over impulse, clarity over chaos, depth over noise. If this video made you reflect, made you uncomfortable, or made you recognize your own patterns, then don't just scroll away. Sit with the feeling, let it teach you. Growth often begins where comfort ends, and if you know someone who reacts to everything, loses peace easily, or keeps giving their energy away, send them this video. Sometimes awareness is the first step toward freedom. And if you want to keep training your mind for real mental strength, stay connected to this journey. Because this path is not about motivation. It is about transformation.